And hello. I'm Dan Lutz, and I'm here with
Dank.
Hey, Dank, how's it going?
Pretty exciting day. You know, I'm kind of watching things unfold here with the capital punishment and some of the other crazy stuff going on. So, you know, I'm very anxiously anticipating. You know, there's a lot of new characters reaching out to us, which they recognize something going on in the banking world. So, for the first time, we have all types of people that normally wouldn't give us the time of day that are reaching out. Like I have some meetings with some CEOs and CFOs of banks tomorrow, and also have some high up guys that might be important, might not be. It's hard to tell because a lot of people that think they're really important end up not being, and so it's hard to tell.
They're legends in their own mind. I know. I met a lot of them.
Exactly. So, so I'm watching and waiting, and we'll see what happens next. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I do have a meeting today with one of those upper important people, right? And I think he is very much it's about medical marijuana here in the Philippines. So I'll be talking more about that. I'd done a video about 3 years ago that was meant to go to President Duterte, well to his daughter at the time, and I did about an hour. And it was actually a split. It was actually half cryptocurrency and half medical marijuana. But just so because instead of talking about both at the same thing. But in any case, I've met with a senator here and some others, just trying to dispel a lot of the bad notions about medical marijuana. And most of the bad side effects and things that people attribute to it are not really part of the plant. It's part of the bad chemicals that they would use for it and things like that. So anyway, that's partly what I'm going to be talking about today on how to do good medicine.
That's cool. It's exciting stuff. I mean, it's amazing what's possible if we just come together on the right side of this whole fight. I think when it comes down to it, if the intention is not the same, there's no way to cooperate to work towards the same goal. So if one side is of the opinion that like this guy down in Puerto Rico who is laughing when his own people are starving and dying off and piling up in body bags, that clearly isn't the same goal as the people who are trying to save those lives, right?
Right.
So that's where the difference always comes in.
I think it is really about the people, and we have to have more representation. I think it's one of the things to change in the American government system is to whatever I forget what amendment ever they did to restrict the number of representatives, and also change the senators to be elected positions. That should be gone, right? It should go back to the way it was, and where the senators are appointed by the governors of the states, right? Because that's
I didn't even I didn't even know that. That's awesome.
Well, yeah. I mean, well, the states are their own countries, right?
Right.
Conceptually, they're their own countries, and so the elected government then sends its representatives. Those are the two senators, and then the people would elect their representatives. And at the time, it was for every 50,000 people, one representative. But they gave the lame argument that, well, now there's too many representatives. Our population's too big, right? So the reality is we need to not have a representative for every 50,000. We need to have a representative for every 5,000 people. There's no reason that they all have to participate in the government at the level that that is happening right now, where the representatives make this into some sort of business opportunity, right? And they're now representing, a couple million people instead of 50,000, or what I would suggest is 5,000. Because if we elected like someone we got together 5,000 people and sent one person to Washington, right? That would make a difference. We might have 500,000 representatives. Well, that's probably too many. It's probably more like 50,000 representatives, but that's okay. We don't have to put them all in one building. They're never there in one building anyway, right? They can. We have telepresence. We got video. We've got Zoom conferencing. They don't have to be in one building, but they at least are. They can represent those 5,000 people and those concerns. Really grassroots. You can't be even at 50,000. You can do it, right? You could make it 50,000 people, and you can get 50,000 people in one area, and you can all elect one guy. But you can't get millions of people really together to get one vote in for one guy, because you don't really know who it is. Then it's about this personality politics and not about the issues.
Right. I mean, they get to dictate what the issues are constantly, right? So that's why we've had officials, elected into office over, because they support gay marriage. Well, gay marriage at best is what I would call, kind of luxury politics, right? Like, because we've got everything else under control, let's talk about some other, things that are kind of tertiary that don't really affect like 2% of the population, right?
But there should be no government shouldn't be involved in marriages at all. They shouldn't have any say.
I totally agree. But I'm saying that's this kind of thing that people get involved in when they have so much time on their hands. They're trying to justify their job, right? Like, man, but in reality, it's like the world, like there's things falling apart everywhere, poison, bombs are flying in the air, and terrorists are, infiltrating the government. And they're like, what's important is we stand for, gay marriage, or, whatever it is. And it's like, I use that as it's such a silly example. Like, I mean, to even have a contract at all where you have to get married and make it a legal issue is ridiculous. It's like, as much as people fought for it, it doesn't really matter.
Well, the marriages used to be affirmed by a family Bible, right? And you would just write the names in the family Bible, and that became the legal document. And there's no need to get permission to be married.
Now, I love that idea. I mean, I love the idea of having a family Bible. I mean, I never even thought of that, but I think that's really what a marriage is, right? It's something where, like, it shouldn't be something invested in you, like where the preacher speaking, like, by the power vested in me by the state of California. It should be by the power invested in you, as by God, really is what it is, right? Like, this is a power that is innate in you. It's a choice that you get to make, and it's an amazing choice you get to make to be married. And I personally think it's something you should choose every day, right? Like, when you're really married and happy about it, you choose to be with that person every day, and that's the beauty of it. But as soon as you add these horrible contracts, now you have to be there, and so now you've taken something that was someone you're in love with, and you've turned it into an obligation, and I just think that's unfortunate, and that defeats the purpose.
Right. Yeah, I agree. So there are some things that we need to change, but coming together is, I think, the main issue, right? And representation is part of what we need to do. Have our representatives there. So if we come together and make our own groups that are more of an organic formation for whatever topic, right? Everyone can have their pet project, their pet topic, whatever it is, and then you can bring more people together because we have this tool, the internet. It doesn't matter where they are physically. They have those ideas can be represented to everyone, and we can discuss them. But we have to not call names, not belittle the other ideas. Just be positive about what your ideas are, and don't talk about what you see bad in the other ones. Really, right? Just say what's good in yours, and obviously.
Yeah, I think that's true, unless and it's. I agree with you. It's more of a solution based, conversation, versus let me attack you and you attack me, and we never really get anywhere, right? But there's definitely got to be a balance when it really assaults, the morality of what we're doing. There's this group that took a group of school kids to a feminist art exhibit, right? And one of the exhibits, which I hate art like this, that is just obnoxious for the sake of being obnoxious. And it was this, morbidly obese woman standing there naked with her robe open, right? That you took kids in to see, right? Now, nobody should have to see that. Anybody, anywhere, right? Not even that woman. Like, she should get changed in the dark. But to do that, right, and then subject them to that because you're trying to, I'm not even sure what they're trying to do. Just trying to shock these kids, right? They're trying to repeat these traumatic experiences, right?
Yeah, remember a lot of the stuff that they're into in the trafficking side of things is they're always looking at these scientists that are looking at the brains, neurologists, and saying how the brain works. So because they want to, it's all about control, how they can push people so that they can control them. And this is something that we should really look at as society. I'm using that word, but as the people, is like, how much control do we need over other people? Right? When we set up a framework, okay, don't steal from others. Right? Are you really controlling other people, or you're basically, saying to respect everyone? Right, and if you don't respect, then you need to be controlled, right? You need to be removed from put in prison, right? That's the old punishment. Is there other punishment outside of prison? Maybe, but maybe it's going to an art exhibit, for a feminist art exhibit. That would be your punishment. But
that's the worst punishment ever. I'm dying. I'm trying to send you the picture right now, and it's wildly inappropriate, by the way. But it's so hilarious that I'm just like, wow, like this is awful.
Okay.
Yeah, but yes. By the way, this would be punishment, right? This would be punishment.
You can always share your screen. Right? If you're on the phone, I don't know. You can't. Yeah, maybe you can't. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm pretty high tech right now, so I've got 2 computers going, and I've got phones and everything else. We're trying to sharpen things up the best we can because I'm
it's really good.
I have a green screen behind me and stuff like that.
Oh, I thought that was your art exhibit.
Yes, that's my art exhibit. That's what I'm into. Yeah.
Well, that's the green screening is fun. Wear a green shirt.
Yeah, have your
head
floating.
You're just a floating head.
I got a great video of myself today, like with this space background, and it the space started coming through my eyes. I'm like, I can't let this opportunity pass. So I did some funny thing about it. like we are all energy. Like, and I look like a crazy
Yeah,
person.
you have to adjust your lighting to you need to have the green screen lit up evenly, right?
Right.
So that kind of effect doesn't happen, right? Uh, so if you light the background even, so your green screen is very erratic, right? Because it's paper on the wall that's not flat, right? And
No, yeah, actually, I've used the green screen very effectively. Even this, it's amazing how I don't know why the green color works so well, but I've used it already. It works great actually. What was the problem? I put up another color, right? It was very clean, a very crisp screen, but it didn't work. It didn't work.
yeah.
So,
Well, originally it was blue screen way back in the day.
right.
I actually had blue screening way back when we were doing tracking for 3D animation. We were tracking points on clothing. We would literally put stickers, white stickers, on the people that we were. We tracked those white stickers, but the screen behind them was blue. But the problem with the blue screen is there's too many blue, like blue eyes, right? Or you have a lot more blue clothing, right? So they switched to green just because less people wear green than blue. What it comes down to. But any color can work, really. I mean, you could do pink screening. Because the computer is picking a color and eliminating.
It was perfect, but yeah, make it work. Anyways, I know you got to go soon. So, what's breaking? What have you seen today? I mean, I thought today was a pretty big day with the, Washington D.C. reinstating capital punishment, and obviously, the crowd is going wild in the underground community, saying this means that now they're going to allow them to start implementing, actual military tribunals and a death penalty for that.
Right.
What do you think?
Well, I think we might see Epstein, right, going for military tribunal. But he that blackout that happened looked like the power was turned off. It wasn't like an accident. It was the power was turned off, and also that he ended up with in the fetal position on the floor of his jail cell with marks around his neck, and his cellmate was known for being rough and other things. Why he's in there is for being rough. He had a cell phone that it was a phone that could only take calls. No texting capability. But so was that a murder attempt on Epstein, or was that he also wants to get a bail, and his first bail hearing was rejected, and so there's an appeal, right? And so now this event happens. Is it to get sympathy? I don't know how I don't see how he can get any sympathy, no matter what happens to him in jail. I mean, obviously, what happens with most people in jail that are caught in pedophilia. They don't last too long, right?
No, they certainly don't. But there's something else going on here. First of all, you don't put the most high-profile criminal, perhaps in history right now. I mean, let's face it. This man, and not only that, but you do it in Clinton Town, right? Because
right.
You just had an FBI agent go into a nightclub who's investigating Clintons and commit suicide on a dance floor, right? That's the story. Now think about this, right? From a standpoint, this reminds me of a few years ago when the CEO of a bank committed suicide by shooting himself 39 times with a nail gun. No, he didn't. Did he really? It's like, wow. I mean, you want to talk about you really want yourself to go out, but you're not sure. So you just keep hitting places that, hurt, but not enough to kill you. What are you doing? Right. So things like this are just it's crazy. So you think the most
I don't know. I think I stopped after maybe you get to 20 nails. It means I really don't want to do anymore.
Yeah. I'm not sure. No, I'm doing it back and forth.
Okay. 39 total time. So That last one was the killer.
Right. Finally, he just said, "Look, I'm putting it straight to the brain. This sucks." But yeah. So things like this to me are just this. This is a. I would venture that one of two things happened. Either police or let's just say somebody said, look, we're furious at this guy, and they put him in the cell with a violent person. Why would they do that? Like they know if he's got a history of being violent, you don't put Epstein there. So and they probably said, rough him up, make him hate his life, but don't kill him because he's valuable, right? Like he needs to be kept alive right now. Now, it also might have been his lawyer said, look, we're going to put you in this cell and get you roughed up so we can get you bail because we can make the case, look, he's too high profile. There's no place to put him. That's another way to go too. Regardless, I'm relatively indifferent about if Epstein was, treated exactly.
They started taking him directly to Guantanamo, and that would have been really the craziness would have broke loose in Washington D.C. Right? Why is he there? Why in Guantanamo? They don't let him like touch foot on the ground, right? They just pick him up out of the plane and move him into another plane and out right to Guantanamo, and that would have been the way to go. But I guess it's going to be drawn out a bit more before we see more happening in Guantanamo Bay.
Guantanamo Bay, yep. Yes, we shall see. Wow, this stuff's crazy. Yeah, and there's a video out there of Ilhan Omar, right? And she's talking about she's like, Americans should be more afraid of white men. Right?
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, it's like I brought that up on the last on Frontlines because QAnon had covered it, and I pointed out, I said it's the white men that freed the slaves, right? The Quakers, the abolitionists, who Betsy Ross was one of the original abolitionists, right? And they claimed that was a racist flag, right? And she's she's known for trying to abolish slavery. And who was the ones that actually created slavery? Well, it was the black tribes. Well, I mean, it might have also been other tribes, but it was a local event, right? One tribe would raid the other tribes, and take their resources, and they take their men and enslave them. That was originally how it was put together. Now, I'm sure it also happened in the Middle East, and it probably happened in other parts of the world, but it wasn't about whites. Whites took advantage of it when they were being offered slaves for sale, right? So, okay, I can get these people to work on the ship, and I don't have to pay them. Yeah. Deal, right?
Deal. Just like that. It's just that simple.
Like that. But so we've moved past this, right? And they're the ones that are bringing it up and making it an issue. That everything they say is about racist. Oh, I made a prediction. I said we're now at the end of the Russian collusion narrative. I think that the Democrats are all going to drop it, and they're going to try and run to the center. And Trump is going to keep moving the Fab Four out in front.
I think that makes very logical sense. Sure.
Yeah, I think that they're done. I said they canceled the two more sessions with Schiff and what's the other guy's name? The other guy, Nancy Pelosi was standing there with Nadler, Schiff, and what was the other guy, the black guy's name?
Oh, I didn't know. Recently? Who she?
Yeah, just she was after the Mueller report. She came out and she was talking about how this gives the evidence and all this kind of BS, right?
Oh, based on Mueller's testimony is what you were saying?
Yeah. So, but I forget what's the guy. We talked about him before. He's the head of one of the other committees. Right? He's so corrupt as well. They're all. I mean,
Elijah Cummings.
Cummings, that's it. Cummings, yeah.
He was standing? Oh my gosh, I've never
He
even
was
seen that
standing,
before.
yeah.
That's amazing. Good for
He's
him.
tall,
I
actually.
didn't know he could walk. I thought he just kind of stood around.
Nadler was looking pretty small next to Cummings, yeah. So yeah.
Wow.
But Cummings canceled. They canceled his, and they canceled Schiff's committee meetings. They were going to talk about the Mueller report. So it was like the wham bam. They were going to go right, but no, they canceled it because it blew up on them, right? So that's why I think Nancy sees that if she doesn't move everyone back to the center now, that they're done. And the Democrats have this remarkable habit of coming together for the election, right? And they move to the center. So they're going to move to the center, but I don't think it's going to work. But I think they're really done with the Russian narrative because now it's going to be coming out against them. All right, everything is now coming the other direction. They won't be able to hold up, this this fake report and report and say this is all about Russian collusion on Trump's side when all the evidence is pointing to Chinese collusion on the other, or at least Yugoslavia or one of the other places that Hillary was getting support from.
Yeah, I'm not sure what I mean. Oh, Ukraine probably is one of them.
Ukraine, Ukraine.
Yeah, I mean, Putin said outright it was the Ukraine. Like it's obvious that this whole thing against Trump has been, bought and paid for by the Ukrainians, right? So, which the Ukraine is a stronghold for the cabal. Like we do know that. So it's like Ukraine, Brazil, New Zealand, right? These are the, kind of places that they plan to go. I guess Switzerland, of course, right? Mm-hmm. So, but even Switzerland is having economic turmoil, and there's another bank out today, in another Chinese bank that is threatening, like they're about to go down, right? So you have Deutsche Bank going down, and one of the largest banks in China is about to crash. So exactly what we've been talking about is exactly what's happening, and what's interesting is like there's such a perverted narrative about this. People are still talking about, it's the GCR, it's happening, it's magic. No, it's not. It's not going to happen that way. It's just not. And no matter how it goes, there's no possible way for them to access the assets. They can't bring in that kind of system. And, so I'm excited to see what happens next because we are making some headway with a lot of strange areas and getting reached out to by people that clearly recognize something's wrong. And they're finally catching on like, wait a minute, maybe we should work with you,
Yeah, I know. It's interesting how this is unfolding. Hey, I just want
bankers kind of frustrated. They're like, look, we want to find a way, to work with you. And you can tell they're just disgusted that they have to even talk to me, right? They're like, we'll bring you into this. How about that? And I'm like, because I always answer the phone, like, hey, how you doing? And they tell me who they are. And I'm like, well, how can I help you? It's how you can help us. It's how we can help you. And I mean, and I get that a lot. I get that kind of call a lot. And I'm just like, well, sometimes I call them back. Sometimes I don't. I don't need that kind of help. You know what I mean? Yeah. So.
All right. Just sign here and register all the assets over here.
Right.
And we'll take care of you.
Right. So, anyways.
Yeah. So, I just want to point out, it looks like I just got a note here. People are saying they're on the Dank 146 waiting for us to start, right? We got 63 over here now on, but since we didn't start Dank 145 yesterday, right? It was we kind of ran them together. I kind of went with the next link, not thinking about it. So that's what happened. So sorry about that, guys. But anyway, we'll be back anyway and do 146 tomorrow. Anyway, we did 145 at least. If you want to include yesterday's, and this would have been the 146. So yeah. So anyway, we'll have to give up on the numbering a little bit and have a little bit of a fudge in there, but that'll be all right. So I'm gonna end this now because, as I said, I'm gonna have to make a run for a meeting. Anything else we should cover before we?
No, man. I appreciate you coming on. I know you got a lot going on, so we'll we
I
will
appreciate
chat
you
later.
coming on. You got a lot going on.
It's a competition, man. I'm trying to save the world here.
I know. Let's see. I know I'll make it to Fiji first, but beyond that.
I know, dude. I'm trying to find a way to get Tui to give me the heads up on it first. Like Tui.
Yeah.
All right, man. You have a good night. Everybody have a good night.
All right. Bye, everybody. Be sure to subscribe.